The topic of pre-Columbian contacts between Europeans and America excites the imagination of many people, even those who are not interested in historical science. Of course, the fact that the Vikings were present on a continent unknown to most Europeans in those distant times no longer surprises anyone. However, Viking settlements were found only on the island of Newfoundland. Did the Scandinavians advance further? There is no exact answer to this question. However, there is indirect evidence that they succeeded. Anyone interested in the history of the Scandinavian peoples knows that there are stories about Vinland, land of grapes. It was located somewhere in the west of modern Canada. By the way, many enthusiasts believed that we are talking about America, even before the discovery of the Viking settlement on the island of Newfoundland. But the problem is that the climatic features of the island do not allow it to be called land of grapes. An episode that has been causing debate among scientists for over half a century is the discovery of an 11th century silver coin in Maine. This coin, called the Maine penny, is of Norwegian origin from the time of the Viking rule and is considered one of the earliest pieces of evidence of Scandinavian presence in America before the voyage of Columbus. It was found in 1957 during excavations of an Indian settlement in Maine. Amateur archaeologist Guy Melgren came across this amazing artifact on the Goddard Farm, on the territory of an ancient Native American settlement on the shores of Penobscot Bay. At first, it did not attract the attention of researchers. They became interested in it only 20 years after its discovery. The denomination of the coin is 1 penny. All this interested many historians and archaeologists. The fact is that by this time it had already become clear that the Vikings really did inhabit Newfoundland. If they were there, then why couldn't they have been a little further south? Maine is home to a lot of grapes, and for the Scandinavians, this land could have really been Vinland. There are suggestions, based on the Kensington runestone, that the Scandinavians could have reached as far as Minnesota. Archaeological excavations soon began. However, they did not yield any serious results. No finds were found that would confirm the presence of Scandinavians in Maine. This forced us to take a different look at the coin found on the Goddard Farm. Its manufacture in the 11th century does not mean that it came to America in the same century. Perhaps it was brought here much later, during the era of European colonization of the continent. Indirectly supporting this version is the fact that a small hole was made in the product, where a thread could be inserted. Perhaps the penny was worn hanging from the neck as an ornament. This could have happened when it had already lost its value as money. For example, in the 16th to 17th centuries. Even if this were true, the origin of the word Vinland remains unclear. This is too obvious a hint that we are talking about a territory where a lot of grapes grow. And it would not have been difficult for the Vikings to sail from Newfoundland to Maine. Most likely, this is what happened. The coin could have actually been brought to America by the Vikings. They landed on the territory of the future state of Maine and were engaged, for example, in exploring the discovered lands. Someone could have accidentally dropped a coin, which was later found by the Indians and brought to their settlement. If the Vikings were present in Maine, this does not mean that they had to populate this territory or leave many finds for future archaeologists. Having seen Vinland, they told about it in their sagas. And the coin worth 1 penny remained lying in the Indian settlement until it was excavated in the 20th century. Despite the doubts about the authenticity of some documents and artifacts, such as the Kensington runestone, the Manx penny is considered to be genuine. Norwegian numismatic expert Kolbjorn Skar confirmed this, pointing out that the coin was indeed made between 1065 and 1080, that is, during the reign of King Olav III the Silent, from 1067 to 1093. This places it in a single timeline with the historical presence of Vikings on the island of Newfoundland in the year 1000 AD. But in our time, only guesses remain about whether the Vikings reached the distant shores of North America in the interior. But as evidence for this theory, we have only this ancient coin, which makes us wonder about the routes of the Vikings in the New World. The Manx penny remains a beacon, illuminating the dark corners of Viking history in America. This artifact raises many questions about the routes, interactions and transformations of the cultures of European and Native American peoples. Today, the coin is kept in the Maine State Museum, reminding everyone of the ancient connections between two worlds, between the old and new worlds, which may have been much more closely intertwined than modern man realizes. And finds like the Maine penny give us a valuable glimpse beyond reality, touching on the mysteries of the past and, perhaps, opening up new perspectives on the study of human history.